Hey, mama, welcome, and a very special welcome to anybody who had to fight a lot of pesky negative thoughts in order to get here and watch this video for whatever reason. That means you're already telling your dungeon brain, who's the boss? That's you. So thanks so much for coming. Tonight we're taking a deep dive into a practical tool that directly combats those pesky negative thoughts that I'm talking about and puts you back in the driver's seat of your thoughts, because you are the driver. It's true. I'm Lindsay Marie, and after 6 years of navigating the overwhelm, the exhaustion, the irritability that often comes with motherhood, I discovered a natural and sustainable way to overcome it. So now I am a mental health nutrition coach, and I help other moms do the same by shifting from barely surviving to thriving and rebuilding their natural feel-good systems. So before I get too far, it's essential to understand that when we're constantly enrolling in all of these negative thoughts, living in what I call the dungeon brain, our body produces stress chemicals, and that's cortisol, that's adrenaline, and that keeps us in the negative cycle. So when we choose positive thoughts and we start thinking with the palace side of our brain, our body produces happy chemicals that we're somewhat familiar with, like endorphins and serotonin and dopamine. That all comes when we have positive thoughts, which can make us feel really great and break that cycle of the negative thoughts. So quickly put in the comments, on a scale from 1 to 10, like how in control do you feel of your thoughts today in general? However, do you feel like you're the boss of your thoughts, or do you feel like you are the victim of your dungeon brain and your negative thoughts? So a reminder for anybody joining me live and participating here tonight, there's going to be a prize drawing for a journal that I created called The Palace Path, and I designed it to help mama transform her thinking and really live up to her full potential. It's going to explain the technique that I'm talking about tonight, the Stop It technique, as well as 3 other techniques that I use in my programs to help moms give themselves an attitude adjustment, get out of that dungeon brain and into the palace mind. So don't be scared. Write some comments. I'm not a scary person, so I'll interact with you when I see that you comment, and it just makes it more fun for everybody, and everybody learns more when there's engagement. So please, please, please. To create a common understanding of the kinds of thoughts that I'm talking about that are keeping us moms stuck in this dungeon side of our brain, I want to talk about a few of them first. So let me know in the comments like what's resonating with you when I talk about these. So first, we have the comparison trap. So why can't I be more like mom so-and-so? They have it all together. They're such a better mom. And this is really an easy thought to have in our social media culture. Every time you enroll in that idea, though, you're actually giving your dungeon brain evidence that it's true when you believe that. So another version of the comparison trap is all of that unsolicited advice that we get about parenting. You're feeding your kid wrong, you live in the wrong neighborhood, you're sending your kid to the wrong school, you're medicating your kid wrong. And when you believe the other person is right and you're doing everything wrong, your dungeon brain wins again. And that's just more evidence that you're not good enough, okay? Then there's the guilt trap. When you park your kids in front of the TV because you need a stinking break, mama, or you need to get something done. Like a good reason to park them in front of the TV, but then you're constantly haunted by the thoughts that you're a failure for doing that. So enrolling in the idea that you're a failure for putting your kid in front of the TV only makes the dungeon brain stronger and harder to move out of. So we want to get out of all of these things. There's the money trap. Your kids want something that other kids have, or your house or your car need attention. And if you're watching this, you know that you get to invest in yourself to get out of this negative cycle that you're in. And you'll make every sacrifice that you need to make sure everybody else gets what they want. But you don't actually deserve what you need because you can't even keep the house organized. You're not a good mom. You're not a good wife. Why should we spend any money on mom? Okay? So believing that there's not enough money to take care of yourself is only going to encourage your dungeon brain to keep you stuck and where you're at, because that's what's safe. That's what's kept you alive so far. Or there's the body image trap, okay? Maybe your body did not bounce back to what it was before you had children, okay? Most women's bodies don't. So you're trying to hide it, you're feeling really self-conscious, and maybe you're getting comments even from other people to make it even more true in your dungeon brain. Comments like, are you pregnant? Like, nope. That's just leftovers. Or you're pregnant with another baby. Like, yeah, okay, it's none of your business, but no, I'm not. Even if I was, to be fine. Like, if this has happened to you, you know how easy it is to take those comments and believe them and think that everyone around you must think that you're pregnant, when really your body just hasn't gone back to the way it was before. This is great evidence, once again, for your dungeon brain to keep you in those thoughts that your body isn't beautiful and that you need to keep hiding, okay? Lots of negative thoughts. These are easy to talk about because they're everywhere. On the flip side, you don't win when you're thin either. I'm a very thin person. I barely weigh 100 pounds. And in high school, I was working as a cashier, and someone wrote on a bag so that I could see it after she left. She wrote "eat" on the grocery bag. And so that circumstance, on top of more evidence that people thought I was too skinny, led me to thinking that everyone thought that I had an eating disorder. That's what I believed. That's what my dungeon brain made me believe to protect myself. So one way that showed up in my life is that I would never go to the bathroom if I ate out in public. If I did that, like if I went to eat out in public, I would not go to the bathroom because I did not want anybody to think I had an eating disorder, because I didn't. I was just thin. So no matter how bad I had to go to the bathroom, I wouldn't go to the bathroom. I did that because I was letting the dungeon side of my brain control my actions. I believed that, like, what it was telling me to do in order to avoid being shamed, right? I didn't want to be shamed for being thin, so I'm just not going to go to the bathroom after I eat in public. So I was in survival mode. So can anybody relate to this, or any of these negative thought cycles that I've explained over the last few minutes? And remember, anybody who comments, engages during the live is put into a drawing for the Palace Path Journal, which I created to help mamas get through these negative thoughts. So just put in the comments, either now or in the replay, just one challenge that you faced this week or something that you can relate to in all of those negative thought cycles that I just explained. They're abundant. There's millions of more. They're in all of our brains all the time, trying to get us to stay alive, right? So the point of all of these thoughts and their stories, the point is we all have these thoughts, and they're all stories that our dungeon brain has filed away as evidence on how to stay safe, okay? This is how we stay safe. We suck in our belly so people don't think we're pregnant with another kid. We don't go to the bathroom after eating publicly, or they'll think we have an eating disorder. If you don't keep an organized house, you're a bad wife and you don't deserve the help that you need. If you feed your kids processed foods, then you're a bad mom. If you work outside the home, then you're missing your child's life. But wait, if you stay home with your kids, you're wasting your education. All of this is like irrational, okay? The dungeon side of our brain doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just trying to keep us alive. Remember, you do not have to be a victim to those negative thoughts. You have the power to choose how you think and feel. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. Nobody else can choose your thoughts. You can't take a pill to change your thoughts. There's no amount of self-care. There's no massage. There's no bath. There's no amount of exercise that is going to change your thoughts. Your circumstances have no control over your thoughts. Only you can make a conscious choice to change the way you're thinking. It's just right now, boom, I have to think differently, okay? You have to make that conscious effort, because the thoughts are just keeping you in survival mode. We don't want to be there as a mom. You're not here to survive like your dungeon brain wants you to. You're actually here to thrive and live in your purpose as a mom, okay? You want to be able to take control of your thoughts and shift into the palace side of your brain where you can actually move forward, okay? That's why what I'm talking about tonight is important. It's simple, but it's important. And it's also why I put together all 4 of those powerful attitude adjustments that can help you take control of your thoughts, get out of that dungeon mind, and into the positive and empowered palace side of your mind. And all of those things, all 4 of those attitude adjustments are in the Palace Path Journal, which I'm doing a drawing for anyone who participates tonight during this live. So go ahead, comment anything, ask me questions, and you'll be put in that drawing for that journal. So these techniques are simple, but they're effective ways to handle negativity and to stop those negative thoughts from controlling your life. By using this one or any of them in the Palace Path Journal, you can quickly and effectively take back the power and regain control of your thoughts and your emotions. So before I get into the technique, I'm going to keep holding off for a second that I'm about to elaborate on. I want to share a few, like 3 different misconceptions about changing your thought patterns, because it just sometimes gets a bad rap. The power of positive thinking, people don't always understand what I'm talking about here. So I'm not saying that negative thoughts are bad. In fact, their purpose, like I said, is to help us survive. They are there to keep us alive. So negative thoughts are not bad in and of themselves. What we can do is acknowledge their role and move on when our life is not actually in danger. That's the part that we're not good at. This takes practice. So you will have negative thoughts your entire life. It doesn't mean those negative thoughts are good, bad, right, wrong. They're just negative thoughts that are trying to get you to survive. So they're protecting you. They will always protect you. That is their job. You can count on them for that, okay? You just need to be strong enough mentally to know when you don't really need to be protected, okay? So they're not bad. They just are, but we need to have better control over them. Also, none of the attitude adjustments, including the stop it technique, are a quick fix, okay? You have to practice these. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and start thinking positively. That doesn't happen. You have to practice. And the stop it technique is the simplest, I think, of all 4. It's like an easy, simple, like elementary, low-level way to get into thinking this way, but it doesn't mean it's not effective, and it doesn't mean it doesn't take practice, okay? So it works, but you have to practice it. Just because it's simple doesn't mean you'll wake up tomorrow and be an expert, okay? And last thing, positive thoughts alone do not make you feel better, okay? It's the chemicals that they're creating that are making us feel better, okay? And there are many factors going on in your body in order to produce those chemicals. Those biochemical factors are what we focus on in the Feeling Good in Motherhood program. I can't just have tell moms to think positively without actually giving them the environment in their body and teaching them how to create the right environment in their body to create the chemicals that create those feel-good feelings when you have the positive thought. So, wondering if any of you have ever tried any sort of challenge, if you've ever challenged those negative thoughts, consciously challenged the negative thoughts, really tried to flip the switch, and then it just comes back stronger. So if you want to share an experience, great. I can, I'd love to interact. So it's just important to remember that we're not alone on this journey. So go ahead, share, private message me, whatever you need to do to be able to exercise all of this. So let's get into it. Let's get into the actual technique, right? So this simple, very powerful exercise that I call the Stop It attitude adjustment can help you take control of your thoughts and your emotions. It's all about telling those negative thoughts who's the boss, like I said at the beginning. You have the power to decide what to think and what to feel, and with that Stop It attitude adjustment, you can put an end to these thoughts. So the next time a negative thought enters your mind, say it out loud and say it clear. Stop it. Okay? Say it with enthusiasm, say it with conviction, and declare that you are in control of your thoughts and emotions. This is simple. This is not easy. Okay? It's just simple. So when your dungeon brain is trying to remind you of all of those fake rules and those lies that I was telling you about earlier, remind it that is not in control, and remind it by saying, stop it. And say it out loud. Say it like you mean it, even if it feels forced, say it. You have to practice. You have to tell your dungeon brain that I'm moving out. And this is how we tell it. So if you want to share some negative thoughts in the comments, we can practice with those specifically, but I have some here. Maybe you're thinking, I can't have a positive thought. I've always been this way. I'm just not a positive person. Stop it. It's not true. I'm not a good mom. They're only ever going to remember me yelling. I'm ruining my family. That's your dungeon brain talking. Stop it. Not true. I just need to push through. I don't have time or money to take care of myself. Mama, it's not true. So say, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Why can't I just get a grip? I feel like such a failure. Stop it. I hate how I'm acting. I feel terrible. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Choose a different thought. Stop it. I'm not pretty. Mom, that's not true. So say, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Remember, you always have the final say in what you think and in what you feel. You have the final say. Absolutely no one else can choose your thoughts for you. They make you think differently. They can't make you think differently, and they can't make you think positive. They can't make you think one way or another. Nobody can do that. And your dungeon brain also does not get to decide that you are like a prisoner to the dungeon brain. It doesn't get to decide that. You get to decide to move out of your dungeon side of your brain, and you can do that by audibly saying, stop it. It seems silly, it feels silly at first, but it works, okay? You got to tell yourself that you're moving out. So say, stop it, when you recognize that this is not the side of the brain that you want to be living in. Saying it out loud reminds you that they're not in control and that you're going to choose a different way. And that way is going to be a way forward, a positive thought. So one thing to make this easier and not sound like you're losing your mind is to honestly be open with your family, because you probably should be able to say this out loud in your own home, okay? At work, maybe a different story. In the grocery store, maybe a different story, okay? But I'll talk about something you can do with that later. But at home, let your family know what you're going through and why you are saying stop it, okay? You're not yelling at them. You're not telling them to stop it. You're actually telling yourself to stop it. And when you share that with your family and you're open with your family and they start to realize, oh my gosh, you're like having negative thoughts again? Like you just had negative thoughts like a few minutes ago. Yeah, this is what my brain's doing to me all day long. Husband or child or whoever's curious. Like I am in a negative cycle and I want to get out. So I'm going to keep telling it to stop it because I'm in control and I want to think differently. So I'm going to say stop it because I'm in my own home and I can. Okay? And they will start to have more compassion on you and you will have more compassion on yourself. So just be honest with your family so that it doesn't feel like you're losing your mind. Okay? Another way to enhance the technique, if you can't say it out loud, if you're in a situation where I can't be saying it out loud, Lindsay, make yourself a button. Okay? So say it in your head, but push this imaginary button when you say it in your head. You can say it, you can push the imaginary button out loud too, just to start like all of these cues from your body, this audible cue, this touching cue. It's just another cue besides your voice to help you move out of the dungeon brain. So maybe you you pinch your ear, or maybe you just like put your hand on your forehead, or kind of hook your finger on your chin, or put your hand on your shoulder, like something like, so when you say it, you're like, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, and pick your button so that you have the audible cue and you have the touch cue to keep your body, reminding your body that no, like I don't want that thought. I don't want that thought. We're going to stop that thought. So who is committed? Just put a yes in the comments if you're committed to trying out this attitude adjustment. If you're watching the replay, if you're watching the live, either way, put a yes in the comments if you're committed to just trying it out. Trying it out. And if your answer is no, I have a feeling you're in your dungeon side of your brain and you should say stop it. Okay? So give it a try. And let me share a little story about the last 24 hours because I've actually used this technique a lot in the last 24 hours. So I was supposed to go live last night. I usually go live on Thursday nights, not Friday nights. And I lost my outline. It was like less than 45 minutes before it was supposed to start. And I opened up the Google document that has my outline. And 2 hours worth of work was gone. And I didn't want to go ad hoc. And not that I can talk, and I can talk for hours about this stuff without an outline, but that's part of the problem. I need to stay focused, and I know that I can give you 10 times more value if I just have an outline to go off of. And I lost it. I lost 2 hours worth of work. So when I first realized that, like, I was a mess. I was a mess. I was yelling for my husband because he's my tech guy, hoping that he could somehow miraculously fix Google, but it was my own fault and that Google didn't save it. So, like, realizing it's not there, like, pacing up and down my stairs, like, oh my gosh, what should I do? This thing is supposed to start. Like, my head was in so many places. You could just feel the dungeon brain, like, just overcome me, and it, like, the stress chemicals were on the brink, like, they were ready to just pour, right? They were, like, the dungeon brain just got really loud. It was saying things like, you're not staying true to your word if you cancel the event. Like, I already created the event and people knew it was coming. You're not staying true to your word if you cancel it. Stop it. Okay, stop it. That's not true. You're going to get behind on, like, your content schedule, and you're never going to be able to catch up because you don't have any extra time in your life. So you just lost 2 hours, and now you're going to be behind for who knows how long. I'll figure it out, okay? Stop it. Stop it. It was saying, you don't have time to rewrite your script. You don't have time to rewrite your script. Don't worry about it. Just go ad hoc. Go without an outline. And I'm like, no, I want to deliver better value than that. Stop it. Stop it. And then it was like, okay, fine. Then just skip this week. You should just skip this week. What? No, I'm not going to skip this week. Stop it. Stop it. And no one's going to show up live if you go live on Friday night. It doesn't matter. This is recorded, and as many people as God wants to watch it is going to watch it. Okay? So stop it. Stop it. So it was this constant, like, back and forth, like palace brain, dungeon brain, palace brain, dungeon brain, like, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. But moving out of the dungeon brain is what is allowing me to be here tonight with you. And I'm here. Like, if I didn't tell you all that, you would never know the difference. But I chose the way forward, right? Telling my dungeon brain to stop it allowed me to move into the palace side of my brain where I could figure out how to move forward and continue on in what I know is my purpose, which is to come here and help you mamas as much as I can. And this is one way. So when we make a conscious effort to move out of the dungeon brain and into the palace brain, then we can finally think for ourselves. And we can maintain a positive outlook. And we're rational people when we do that. We get resourceful. We are productive. And we achieve our goals when we're in the palace side of our brain. It's where all of the things we want and all of the possibilities live. Right? That's where we get to be when we decide to move out of the dungeon side of our brain. My dungeon brain wanted me to cave last night. It wanted me to sabotage my plans completely and throw it all away. That's what it wanted. But when I moved into the palace side of my brain, I realized actually it was a blessing that my script got deleted somehow, way, shape, or form. My body needed a break, okay? I've got a lot going on in my life right now, and it needed a break, and I didn't need to go live last night. So I took it all as a sign from God to just rest instead of pushing through, instead of getting this done. I didn't need to get another thing done yesterday. So instead, I adjusted my schedule this morning to be able to get this event planned out for the second time, and everything's just fine. It all worked out just fine. Here we are. But if I would have listened to my dungeon brain, I'd still be dealing with those pesky, self-sabotaging thoughts about failing And you wouldn't be listening to me right now. You wouldn't be watching this video because it wouldn't exist if I would have fallen into my dungeon brain. So imagine what won't exist if you stay stuck in the dungeon side of your brain. What are you sacrificing right now because you're stuck in the dungeon side of your brain? And who has noticed a change in their mood or energy after focusing on positive thoughts? Have you tried this before? Do you notice a positive change when you actually change your mood, right? After focusing, does your mood change after focusing on positive thoughts? That's what I'm trying to say. Have you noticed your mood change just by thinking positive thoughts? I'm actually able to be here tonight because I kept my brain chemistry from getting lost in those stress chemicals where in the moment I could have just went off the rails, right? Those stress chemicals were not going to do anything to help me thrive. They weren't going to help me, okay? They were only going to keep me safe and avoid doing this video, right? Because I'm doing big things and different things in my business. I'm doing things I've never done before. So my dungeon brain is like, this is all very risky, right? And it wants me to stop. And I'm not stopping. And I've told my brain to stop it with the negative thoughts over and over. It knows that I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's my purpose. I will keep doing what I'm doing. But it's been a lot of practice to continue that dialogue, to be like, nope, you're not going to win again. You're not going to win again. You're not going to win again. I'm not in danger. My life's not in danger. It's okay if I fail. We're going to try again, right? And maybe you're doing all the things to feel better, including all the positive thinking that you can handle, okay, right? You're already doing positive thinking. You're already doing all the things to try to feel better, and you're still stuck. Why are you still stuck in the overwhelm and the exhaustion and the irritability? It's likely because your feel-good engines have been depleted for so long that they just don't have enough oomph left in them to keep you feeling good on a long-term basis, right? So who's ever felt like they're battling their own mind when they go and try to make a positive change in their life, right? Remember what I said about how it's actually the chemicals that are giving us the good vibes. When I was talking about the misconceptions of positive thinking, I was saying that the positive thoughts are not what give us the good vibe. It's the chemicals that give us the good vibe when we actually let our bodies think a positive thought. And if we don't have the right vitamins and minerals to create those chemicals, or we're not eating enough, or a combination of a host of other things, then we don't have the right environment in our bodies to create the chemicals that help us feel good, which is what the positive thought is trying to do, right? The real magic of the stop it technique comes when our feel-good engines can fire easily. And that comes when those engines have enough fuel. And that's what I work with moms on in the Feeling Good in Motherhood program, is getting that fuel supply up and those engines just humming so that the happiness and the energy and the pleasure and the relaxation all come naturally, like flipping a switch. So to learn which engines need the most support in order to get the most benefit out of positive thinking, you can take the mood checkup. I'll link it in the comments when I'm done here. And it's going to tell you your engines, how they are running. It's a custom, like you answer a bunch of questions. It gives you custom results about how well each of your engines are running and what you can do to boost them if they're not running great. So now's your last chance to ask me any questions in order to be put in a drawing for the Pals Path Journal. It's a journal I created to help you transform your thinking and really live up to your full potential as a mama. So it explains everything we talked about tonight with the Stop It technique, plus 3 other techniques that I use with moms in the Feeling Good in Motherhood program. So remember, just closing thoughts here, recap, boom. Remember that no one else controls your thoughts except you. Not your circumstances, not the expectations of others, not what you see in the mirror, none of it. Only you can control your thoughts. And your thoughts are either helping your body produce stress chemicals to help you survive when you're in the dungeon side of your brain, or your thoughts are helping your body release feel-good chemicals when you're in the palace side of your brain so that you can thrive, okay? To move out of the dungeon brain and into the palace brain, the technique we learned tonight was stop it. Say stop it out loud with enthusiasm, with conviction, even if it feels forced, okay? And keep practicing it so that your dungeon brain knows that you are serious about moving out. You want to get to that palisade of your brain, and you want to stay in there as long as you can, as much as you can. And if you're spinning your wheels, then take the mood checkup to learn which feel-good engines need to be firing better in order to get the full benefit of positive thinking, so that those chemicals, those feel-good chemicals, can really get into your body when you have that positive thought. So I'm normally live here every Thursday night, not Friday night. So invite your mama friends that you know could use a little inspiration for feeling good. My private messages in Facebook are always open. My email is always open for further support. So don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, mama? Until we meet again, remember, you are meant to feel good in motherhood. And I love you, and you deserve it. Okay? Have a good night.